Well, good evening, everyone. Me again. Okay, nice view out of my lounge window with my laptop screen. Let's see if I can take that. Yeah, that's a bit better. Okay, there's my lounge window. Well, I hope everybody's had a good week. And you had a good weekend. There's something that I want to say about adoption before I go on to something else. The way I found my birth mum, okay, is not recommended for everybody, not even for anybody. I don't think it's wise um, when you hear all how emotional people are and everything, okay. The best thing is to get proper counseling before you start the journey, during the journey, um, and go about it carefully, because there's a lot of backlash involved in it. There's a lot of um, unknown. Okay, you don't know what circumstance your birth mother is in. You don't know how she feels about it. You don't know if she's told her family about it or anybody else about it. So you have to be wise about it. I really wasn't. I sort of went in like a bull in a china shop. It's not recommended. Okay, so don't do what I did. Go about it slowly and with a lot of care. Okay, right now, after that little lecture, I said in the last video about the adoption, about my adoption, that we talk about agoraphobia, which I have. I have chronic agoraphobia. Um, how did I get it? I have no idea. Okay, it's it's the most nasty thing because it just creeps up on you. I mean, I've never been overly confident, okay, but I got out in the world and I did my thing. I loved walking. I loved going out into nature. I loved being by myself. I worked. I raised a family. I went shopping. I did all the things that a normal person does. Okay. And one day, I can't tell you what year it was. I can't tell you the day. Okay. All I know is that I was in a supermarket and my hands started getting damp. Okay. Clammy. And as my hands got clammy, I got a weird feeling in my stomach, like elephants on a mating binge. It's the best way of describing it. And then I started breathing more rapidly, and then my hands got to the stage where they were dripping with sweat. Okay, and I was cold and I wanted to vomit and I wanted to pee and I wanted to poo all at the same time. Okay, and pass out and die. Anyway, I got out of the supermarket, I got into the car, and I sort of calmed down. Then I got home, and of course, I had young kids, and I had to take care of these kids, and I just couldn't. And in the process of this, of that sort of, I didn't know what it was, okay? There was also the sense of vertigo, of being unbalanced, okay? And it was awful. I didn't know what it was. Anyway, when I got home, um, I managed to sort out the kids, get them bath, get them meals, get them ready for bed, and then I couldn't handle anything. And I went into the bedroom and I started the same sort of feelings again. I went through it, okay, eventually. And then things started to I didn't know what it was. I mean, I didn't speak to anybody about it because, I mean, I didn't know. It was just something that happened to me. Anyway, I carried on with life. I got over that episode, those couple of episodes. I carried on. And then I started noticing, okay, that if I was watching TV, it didn't have a thing that sparked it. It would just happen, okay? And I started getting fearful with it. I was frightened of going to the supermarket. I was frightened of going outside because I was frightened of getting this awful episode. We still didn't know what it was, okay? I hadn't been to the doctor. And then I got a really bad one night, okay? And the doctor that I had, I called him and he came out and he gave me an injection. He calmed me down. And then he said, right, I want to see you in my surgery, in my office, my whatever you want to call it. We call them doctor's surgeries. I want to see you in the surgery tomorrow. So I phoned up in the morning, I made an appointment and I went. And he said, I explained to him how I felt and everything. And he said to me, we think there's something wrong with your stomach. So he put me on to tablets called Maxilon. And it kind of helped, okay? Now, in the process, I'd spoken to my sister about it, okay? My adopted sister. And she was in the next little village, okay, working at the mine hospital there. And she said to me, come in and see our doctor that we have here. So I said, okay, cool. And I went to go and see him. And she came in with me and she said that she'd been reading in a woman's weekly about this woman in England that was having these things, and they were called panic attacks. Okay. And it sounded like very much like what I was having. So this doctor at this mine hospital, okay, I can't remember his name. I can remember his face. He said to me that he wanted me to go through to our capital city, which was Harare, and have, what do you call those things when they stick a pipe up your bum? Okay. Have one of those, okay, because he wanted to rule out that it was anything to do with my stomach. So I said, okay, cool. And I thought to myself, oh my Lord, here I'm petrified of going outside and all this kind of stuff, okay? And now I must end up in hospital, be put out, okay, and have a thing up me bum. I thought, oh boy. Anyway, we did it, okay, and I managed to get through it and came back to our town where we were, okay, and waited for the results. And then he called me and said, no, come through. The results have come through. So I said, okay, fine. So off we went to the mine hospital. And he said, no, there's nothing wrong. Everything's clear. There's no sign of any stomach cancer. There's no abrasions. There's nothing. Okay. Um, so therefore, it's not that. So he said to me, okay, he's going to what do you call it? Recommend. There's another word for it, but I can't think of it right now. To go and see a psychiatrist up in Harare. So I said, okay, fine. I had to go up for 2 weeks and stay in a like a nursing home type of thing, okay, where this guy would come every day and sometimes twice a day, and he'd talk to me and everything. And it was petrifying for me. I hated every single second of it. First of all, I was away from my kids. Secondly, I was by myself, okay? So everything I did, I had to do by myself. I was absolutely petrified. It was horrible. And then he said that he was going to hypnotize me. Well, that was fun, okay? He just couldn't put me under. I refused. I just not personally refused. Okay, I'm not doing it, saying it like that, but I just wouldn't accept that loss of control. And I mean, he tried it for a good couple of hours. Okay, and he did it on 3 or 4 different times, and no way. So he carried on talking to me, okay, and he said to me, "You're not going to taking you off all the medication you want." I was only on Maxilon, and in those days they used to give you Valium, but I didn't like the Valium. I was frightened of it. I mean, I was a nurse, an ex-nurse, so I knew that Valium could have some pretty bad effects, okay, so I took it very, very sparingly. Um, the Maxilon, it kind of sort of helped, okay, but I mean, the Valium, yeah, it knocked me out. And in the process, after I'd been up for the psychiatrist, the 2 weeks of under the care of the psychiatrist and everything, when I came back, a friend of my family, okay, my mum and dad, I mean, she was I'd known her since I was a little tiny girl. She decided that she was going to call a prayer thing. And she was part of I think it was Anglican Church or the Catholic Church. I can't, one of those ones. And these priests came along and laid hands on me and prayed over me and all this kind of business. And nothing happened. Okay. In the meantime, I was getting sort of really bad. I would isolate myself completely. Okay. As soon as it got dark, I would go into my bedroom and close all the curtains and climb under the covers, and that was the end of me. Okay. Um, Going up to see the psychiatrist kind of sort of helped in a way, okay, but we never got to an understanding of why it had happened, what the cause of it was, and how I was supposed to handle it. Because when the 2 weeks was up and I went home, okay, supposed to go up, I think it was every couple of weeks to Harare. And I mean that it was a case of it would take you the best part of a day to get there, okay, and then we'd have to have a hotel, okay, and then go and see him the next day, and then either travel at night, which wasn't recommended, okay, or spend another night in a hotel and then come home the next day. Now, in the meantime, my husband would have to take time off work and stuff like that, okay? So it wasn't viable. So I never did the follow-ups, okay? Um, he had given me a couple of tools of dealing with the panic attacks and things like that, okay? which I tried. Um, they weren't terribly successful. It was more a case of me pushing myself to a certain extent, okay? And there were some things that I could do, and then the things that I couldn't do, I just accepted I couldn't do them, and that was that, okay? My life wasn't completely shut off, okay? I got to a stage where I was having sort of kind of a normal life, but there was always this fear of these panic attacks. And then I was reading one time, I can't remember where, about people with panic attacks and things. And this woman was saying that she'd grabbed this brown paper bag. You know, you used to get your groceries and stuff put in brown paper bags. Well, those brown paper bags, she grabbed it and put it over her nose and her mouth, and then breathed in and out into that bag. Okay. And that had stopped her panic attack from happening. So the next time I had a panic attack, I did that. Okay. And it worked like magic for some reason. So I thought, oh, goody, now I've got something where I can control the panic attacks. So I was able to kind of get rid of them, in a sense. Okay. And my agoraphobia went in stages. Okay. Sometimes I'd go for 2, 3 years and everything was really not too bad. Okay. I could do, say, 90% of things. Okay. And there was still the 10% that I had a problem with. Then there were other times when I could do virtually nothing. And so it went on, and then we ended up moving from Zimbabwe to Portugal. That did me a world of good. Portugal is a funny country. Okay. And I virtually could be myself because nobody cared really what you looked like. Okay, so I could walk around in my trousers and my shirts and things like that, okay, and barefoot, and nobody, well, if they did, it didn't matter because I couldn't understand what they were saying anyway. So it kind of gave me a boost in confidence. I mean, there were still times I could walk, but I couldn't walk by myself. Okay, I did try a couple of times, but it wasn't that successful. But there were some things that I could do a lot more. Okay, so I sort of, I mean, I even ended up working in the entertainment sector in Portugal. Okay, and it's for about 2, 3 years I wasn't too bad. Then I noticed that I started this business of getting frightened of certain things, okay, again. All right. I was having a really rough time in my marriage. I mean, I'd always had a rough time in my marriage, but this one was even worse. So I had no sort of security or fallback, if you want to call it. And I was so unsure of everything and so insecure within myself. Okay, that was my biggest problem was the insecurity, and I started regressing with the agoraphobia. Anyway, I left Portugal and I came to South Africa, and the first 2 years, 2, 3 years, no, maybe more, 4, 5 years, I was good. I could go to my next door neighbor by myself. I could come home by myself. I was doing quite a bit of stuff, okay? But now there was a big difference. in South Africa, we were living in a suburb where there was nothing, just houses. Okay. Whereas in Portugal, I'd lived in amongst coffee shops and bars and all this kind of business, always action. So I was able to get out and get somewhere. Okay. Whereas in South Africa, I had to depend on my husband to take me anywhere. Okay, I tried going in one of our South African taxis one time, and the guy turned around and said, "Listen, lady, with all the jewelry you've got, forget it. You're putting our lives in danger as well as your own." So, so that one was out. Okay, and everything's such a distance, so it's no use trying to walk somewhere because by the time you get there, it's time to come back. Okay, so I was sort of very housebound in that sense. I mean, there were no coffee shops and that sort of thing to dart into and have a nice cup of coffee or anything like that. Okay, I mean that was in a shopping center or something, which was a way away. Okay, and but I'd still go like when my husband, because he works for himself, when he'd go to do a job, okay, I'd go and I'd stay in the car and I'd read, um, just so that I could get out the house. Then everything went kibosh, okay, and he decided that I wasn't to go out with him anymore. And then I stayed at home. And things just got worse and worse and worse. And I withdrew completely to where I am today, okay? If I really push myself, I will go ask hubby to take me and go and see my best friend, okay? Otherwise, I'm at home all the time. And even to go out into the garden like I used to love to do in the mornings, okay, go and get my cup of coffee and go and sit out there before anybody else was awake and just enjoy the sunrise and listening to the birds and everything, okay? I mean, I don't even do that anymore. It's, I have become my own prisoner, okay? And it's this time, yes, I can get in the car and go somewhere, but it's to get out at the other end, okay, and go and do what it is that I have to do that I can't do. I can go and see my friend and I can go and sit there the whole day with her, okay? But like going to see a passport office or a doctor or anything like that, that's it. My vertigo has got really, really bad. Okay. The minute I go into a stressed out mode, my vertigo takes over. Okay. And that is something that is more debilitating than the actual agoraphobia. Okay. I manage it the best that I can. Okay. Um, but it's a very strange place to be if I sit and look at it. Okay, if I just carry on like I do. Okay, well, it is what it is, and that's it. I mean, I'm so thankful for living in this age of technology because of the technology that's available to me, like the internet and YouTube and Skype and mobile phone and all that kind of business. I can still keep in contact with everybody. Okay. So I still feel sort of part of the world type of thing, not completely isolated. I mean, I make sure that I'm up to date in the stuff that I enjoy. Okay. But as to going out there and mixing with people, I don't want that. Um, but that I had decided a while back because I found mixing with people, I had I don't even want to call it an ability. I had this thing that if there was anybody with a problem in the crowd of people, even if it didn't know this person and they didn't know me, they would end up by me, okay, and emptying out all their history. All right. I mean, I felt like a priest in a confessional box. And it got to the stage where it was taking so much energy out of me that the minute I saw somebody heading in my direction, whether they were coming to talk to me or just passing by, okay, I would start thinking, oh no, please. I hadn't learnt how to disengage myself and still be present be able to help the person, but without them tramping on me in the process. You see, I've learned to do that now, okay? But I don't know, it's a weird situation and a weird thing that that you go out, okay? I mean, we'd go to parties or to gatherings or whatever you want to call them, okay? Even in bars, and I don't drink alcohol, okay? But I mean, my hubby does, so I'd go with, okay, just to get out the house. Well, when I was allowed to go with, then all of a sudden I wasn't allowed to go with anymore because everybody would end up around me and laughing and joking and having a ball, and I personally think that he became jealous of it. Okay, he didn't like the attention that I got. But anyway, I mean, whether it's true or not, I've no idea. But anyway, it didn't matter where I was. If I was in a group of people, it didn't matter what the problem was. It always ended up in my space. And I had nowhere to go with it. Okay. I was like this huge storage depot where people came to dump. And I didn't know how to get rid of their problems, okay, without it affecting me. So it kind of overflowed in a way. And I decided, no, 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 no. So I still get that, okay, but now it's in a much smaller degree, okay, and I'm able to handle it. I mean, before it was, even walking in a place where there are a lot of people, for some reason, I needn't be involved with anybody, okay? I could just be doing my business and not really sort of concentrating on anybody or anything like that. But I would get this feeling of like somebody sucking your energy out, okay? And I could never close it. I didn't know how to. I know now how to protect myself, okay, against that sort of thing. But before I never did. And everything was exhausting. And I'd get to the stage where, no, 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 I can't do this anymore. And then, of course, when the agoraphobia really became, what's his name? That was a good time just to say, hey, right, chill out. I'm taking backstage. Okay. So, in a way, it's been like a protection. I've used it like a protection for me. It sounds weird, I know. Okay. Um, there are days that I get very frustrated and I want to be what the rest of the world calls normal. Okay, and I want to be able to go places and do things and all that kind of business. But then again, the situation I'm in wouldn't accommodate that. Okay, so I don't know. I really don't. I've got to stage. I've lived with this thing now for uh, since about 81, 82. I've lived with it and I've built my life around it, through it, over it, under it, whatever you want to call it. And I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, I'd like to go and register for my pension because I'm entitled to a pension. I'm too petrified to do that. Okay. So it limits me 100%. 100%. Do I care about it? Not really, not anymore. I've lived a very good life, okay? I've done things, I've seen things, I've experienced things that not a lot of people have, okay? Nothing I've done in my life has been forced upon me or a gun was held at my head. Anything that I've done, good or bad, has been of my own free choice, okay? So, yeah. I'm thankful for technology and I'm thankful for the internet and I'm thankful for the few people that I have in my life, okay, that allow me to just be who I am after I've told them, okay, because not many people know what I have because they don't see that. I don't allow them to, okay, so they don't see it. I don't allow them too close because I found in the past that if I told people I had this problem, okay, people couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle the fact that this person that they had always been dumping everything on and helped them with everything, okay, really needed help from them. They couldn't handle that and they would run. I tell you, they would pack up and run. So I learned to just not share anything and just put on this face so they know what I allow them to know. I show who I am, what I allow people to see, okay? Furthermore than that, it's my business. Maybe it's wrong, I don't know, okay? It's not that I feel embarrassed about it or anything. It's just that I know people can't handle it. And really, I couldn't be bothered to see them pick up and run. Okay, really, it just doesn't hassle me. So it's a situation it's weird, but hey, it's me. Okay, um, that's how I've chosen to live it. All right. I mean, it's not advisable for anybody, but that's how I handle it, and that's how I deal with it, and that's how I get through it. Okay. It's not the right way, but for me it is. So, no, I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not a victim. I'm not, oh, woe be me and pity party time. No, no. Um, I'm just telling you what, how I live, who I am. It's just part of my story. Okay, it's nothing else. I mean, I will always be there to help anybody, to uplift people, and I do it quite freely. Quite freely. I learned a long time ago to do things because you want to, not because you need to. Because if you need to, then you're expecting something back from somebody. No, you do it because you want to, which means you're just freely doing it, okay? The minute you've done it, it's over, it's done with, and life goes on, okay? And that is how I live my life. Because that's how I've learnt. It makes sense, okay? It makes a lot less trouble. It makes a lot less negativity and everything. You do it because you want to and you are able to. Not because you have to and you need to. And then you want payback. No. No, sorry. No strings. And I won't accept anything from anybody. If I feel that there's strings, then I'll do without it. Okay? Because that just causes problems. So I just do without it. Anyway, I think that's enough. Until the next time, may your gods go with you. Be good to each other. Be kind to strangers. A kind word and a gentle hand lasts a lifetime. Ciao, ciao.